Journalism is undeniably the most important profession in a democratic society. Yes, Naija Times was formally launched on September the 15th, 2020, with the primary objective of advocating for a better Nigeria with strong institutions, respect for the rule of law, and defending public interest. These ideals are expressed in the vision and mission statements of the newspaper, as the publisher, editor-in-chief of Naija Times, Ehi Braimah, gears up for the book presentation later this week. He says the book will be a valuable resource for media practitioners, communications specialists, political leaders, strategists and consultants, CEOs, public policy analysts, and many others. But joining us from our Abuja studio is Ehi Braimah, the publisher, editor-in-chief, Naija Times. Good morning and congratulations on the 3rd anniversary of Naija Times.
Good morning and thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here and to be speaking to our viewers around the world. Thank you very much.
Right. Now, let's give us a sense of how the journey has been for the past 3 years, putting it into the context of delivering, service delivery to the nation, because like we mentioned earlier, the ideals and vision of your organization is to ensure some level of transparency, advocating for a better society. How easy or challenging has it been?
Thank you. This journey, as you rightly noted, started 3 years ago. And there was just one motivation for Naija Times. It's an online newspaper. We want a better Nigeria. And the task of nation building, we must understand, involves everyone. The leadership is just one part of that equation, the political leadership, which we shall also talk about. Now, Nigerians too also have a role to play. So in 3 years, we decided that we must advocate for a better Nigeria, a better society. Because at the end of the day, we shall all be beneficiaries when everything is working for us. So we said there must be strong institutions, not strong individuals, which is currently the case. We must have the rule of law, respect for the rule of law. Any society where there's no law and order, there will be a crisis, What you experience, as you are seeing these days, is like mob action. And then we must also defend the public interest. So those are the 3 pillars upon which Naija Times, rests. And we have been guided, in all our stories, in our editorials. And what we have done is that this book is a collection of all our editorials. We compiled them in 3 years, and we decided that it is one way we can tell our stories. And most of the editorials are all about Nigeria. They're all on Nigeria, the Nigerian condition, and how we can, become better. What is the purpose of life if we cannot make the lives of Nigerians better? And I think that should be the focus of every government, whether at the federal level or at the state level. So it's important that we understand that purpose. I like to say it's a higher sense of purpose that we must accomplish, where there is prosperity for all Nigerians. And it is still possible, in spite of our current challenges, especially the economic and security situation in the country.
Interesting, and I must say that it's a good job you've been doing there. Kudos to your organization. But then my concern is, for the Nigerian media, where you have people who are making foray into journalism, simply because they could speak better English. You find them on television. Some people who can write, they start making publications using the available media platforms to dish out their own opinions, where you find them editorializing or also opinionating, and you see yellow journalism taking place. But the question is, how do you perceive the current state of journalism in Nigeria in terms of its effectiveness in serving the needs of society, which is the focus of your upcoming program, and what are the key challenges there for you?
The newspapers, the media, will continue to play its role as the watchdog of society. Okay, yes, there will be a few gaps here and there. That's to be expected. We talked about yellow journalism. Now, it is more about fake news that we are confronted with, misinformation, disinformation. And I think that also comes with the job. With the rise of social media activities, I actually call most of them social media anarchists. You know, they just concoct stories and promote falsehood. That is unacceptable. You know, so when the government talks about regulation, it is really the reason why, you know, they want to do that, even though we want to also say, well, there has to be some level of balance. But in playing that role, the media definitely has its own responsibilities. And I believe that if we all work together as a team, you know, the media, the government, and even Nigerians, we can make this country work for all of us. You know, the stories that we tell today, they're not exactly new from stories that we have been told about Nigeria in the last 30, 40 years. That's the truth. So the question people ask is, what has changed or what is changing? So, but we will not give up on Nigeria. The media will continue to tell those stories, highlight those problems, proffer solutions, you know, in spite of the challenges, even in the media industry that is poorly funded. So we know what we're facing today with the dollar at over 1,000 naira, with diesel at over 1,000 naira, with food inflation at about 30%. People are actually struggling to survive. And the naira is on a free fall against the dollar. So it is why we now call on the political leadership in Nigeria today to say we have to sit down and find ways out of our current you know, crisis. It's a big problem that we have on our hands. And I want to believe that they are not sleeping. When I'm saying they, I'm referring to the president of the country, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He assembled a great team, as far as I'm concerned, the ministries. I also want to believe that will be done in all the other agencies of government. And every political leader must see themselves as offering a service. It's very important. There must be some level of sincerity. And that is what Nigerians are looking for. And that is what will give them hope. If there is no sincerity, they'll just say this is just like any other government. They come and go, and nothing changes. But I'm willing to give the present administration the benefit of the doubt. It's too early in the day to say, oh, they've done this right or they've not done this right. Let's give them some time. But a lot really is on their plate. That is the truth. All the appointments are being made right now, and I want to believe that the best hands will be appointed, and those who are doing great jobs, we should encourage them and praise them, as I keep saying. And those who are not, you know, meeting their KPIs, their key performance indicators, should be asked to leave. It is no longer business as usual. The times are really tough, and they call for creative solutions. You know, Nigerians are watching. Most of them are resorting to self-help because, you know, which at the end of the day is about your individual survival and your family survival. You know, so where there are no jobs or where the value of the naira cannot really, you know, give you what you could buy with the same amount about 5, 10 years ago, then you rationalize and, you know, you now prioritize how you spend your money. You know, so, but I want to make a special appeal to our political leaders. They should understand that they are there to serve Nigerians and not grandstanding that we are currently seeing, whether at the National Assembly or at the State House of Assembly. They gave the impression that they're just going there to help themselves. And that is really deeply troubling for Nigerians. You know, so I was reading a statement by Professor Kingsley Moghalu just this morning, where he's asking our political leaders to cut their allowances and whatever they earn, their emoluments, by about 50%. You know, you're also reading the papers that are spending billions of naira to buy vehicles. I have no problem with that, even though, as far as I'm concerned, it still goes into this culture of waste that we experience everywhere, you know, in government. But why don't we buy made in Nigeria? You know, Same Motors is there. I'm not doing advert for him. Why spend all our billions of naira buying cars that are produced from outside of Nigeria? You know, we should begin to think of bringing factories into Nigeria. I understand there are power problems. We have power problems, and that's a different issue. Why can't we have light 24/7 in this country? So these are issues that we need to look at. And our friends who live abroad, our brothers and sisters, they believe that if we can get security rights, if we can fix our bad roads, and if we can have light 24/7, most of them will come back home.
All right, let's make judicious use of our limited time. That's why I'm butting into your line of thought as we speak. You mentioned something earlier, and I want to push it further, still regarding the media. You would recall the role the media played towards the return of democracy in this country. And you mentioned that over the years, after a return to democracy, for instance, a lot hasn't changed. And the media is supposed to serve as the watchdog of the society and the fourth estate of the realm, bringing the necessary information that should hold these persons to account. Are you saying the media has failed over the years?
Well, I won't say the media has completely failed. We still have sections of the media that are, reporting about transparency and accountability in government. It is an area too we really need to also focus on. There must be transparency, there must be accountability. If you are paid 100 naira, as allocation, I'm talking about the states now, they should be able to explain on a monthly basis how they spend this money. Because Nigerians just believe politicians come and go, they help themselves, and the problems continue. So the media has a critical role to play. I agree, and they have been doing that. When newspapers write editorials, what do you think exactly they are doing? They are focusing about shaping public policy choices, and making recommendations where necessary, to the government of the day. At Naija Times, we have done that, in the last 3 years. And it is why we are calling our friends, our colleagues, a cross-section of the society to be at our event on Thursday as we formally present for a better society. That's the title
the issue and the challenge
of the
for the
Coalition
majority
of
of Nigerians is that they have not been able to hold persons in government to account. That is what democracy is supposed to be about. Despite we saying, yes, media is doing the needful, not much result has been seen. The question is, what is the missing link? What is the media not doing right? Or what are we not looking into to addressing this matter?
The media, I said I agree with you that the media needs to do more in terms of holding government to account. Not just the media alone, Nigerians themselves. We need to hold government to account. They need to explain to us, because you vote for these people and then you just go in there and do whatever they like once they hold political offices. So the media must report and expose, for example, corruption. The media must report those critical issues. The media must explain the laws. The media, because I said any country without law and order, the society will fail. So the media needs to expose so many things that are wrong in our society. In telling the stories about Nigeria too, the media can report those good things about Nigeria. You see, I agree we can criticize government on the one hand, but on the other, we must also report about the great things, that are happening in Nigeria and what Nigerians are doing around the world. We also have to tell those stories. And I must cite, as I do, I cite 3 examples most of the time. 3 Nigerians that I respect, and they are great ambassadors of this country. I'm talking about Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, Vice President at the African Development Bank. I also also cite Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who is at the World Trade Organization. And of course, Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. These are Nigerians, and they are models for all Nigerians. You see, when we talk about the media playing that role in the society, has the media played it well? I won't say 100%, but there's room for improvement. And if we have these engagements, these conversations, the media must be constantly reminded of its role as the watchdog of the society and not be compromised in any way. You know, we just, in spite of the fact that the media is poorly funded, we still have that role to play and refuse to compromise the values of journalism.
Well, I think Section 38 of the Nigeria Constitution actually guarantees press freedom, because you are also, emphasizing the fact that the journalists should be responsible in reporting, quality, bringing quality stories and news to the society. But, it's quite vital for the functioning of journalism in our society. So how do you view the press freedom in Nigeria as of today, and what steps do you think can be taken to enhance it?
We are enjoying robust press freedom in Nigeria, that is the truth. Whether it is radio, television, the print media, and now the online media. But the freedom you are talking about should come with its own responsibility, okay? We just can't go on radio or television or write whatever we like in the newspapers because we want to hold on to press freedom. No. And I think the media in Nigeria has been very responsible and alive to its responsibility. That is the truth. The media is not being gagged, to the best of my knowledge, in this country. There is freedom of expression, freedom of thought, and I think that should also be encouraged. Now, when you hear stories about regulation of the social media, and I think it is mainly because of the fake news, that some people will just sit down in their bedrooms and just promote falsehood. But as I said, every story, every work by a writer, by a journalist, that freedom should come with some level of responsibility. You don't just do whatever you like in the name of press freedom. And I believe that the media understands that critical role, and they will continue to uphold the highest standards in the practice of journalism. So far, the media can do better. That is true. I agree with you. And we must continue to have this conversation, as I pointed out earlier, for us to identify where we have challenges and continue to improve. And those that are bringing bad name, to the profession, we must also have a way of also checkmating them.
Right. Interesting. Earlier, you were talking about funding. And that's a critical aspect in the media, in the functioning of the media as it is. I wonder what you would say with regards to those who have said that this is the reason why we are seeing some of the stories we're seeing the media not really performing or doing the due diligence that they should, because when they get these brown envelopes, they cannot tell some of the stories that could hold persons in leadership positions to account. I'd like to hear your perspective on that and how we can improve funding. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, let's talk about your book. What stands out in that book, and why should Nigerians look forward to getting it?
Okay, two questions in one. I hate the word brown envelope, or phrase, or whatever you want to call it. I know it is happening. I mean, we can't deny it. But again, that speaks to the issues about bribery and corruption, about inducement, about gratification, which has become a culture, So it is not just within the journalism space. It is everywhere. You go to the hospital, you want to get your card to see a doctor, you have to bribe the nurse. Why should it be so? Okay, you want to get admission for your child into a school, you have to bribe somebody. So these problems are everywhere. Now, talking about journalists who receive payments or gratification or what you call brown envelope, and I don't think we should promote brown envelope. It is, at the end of the day, we believe that once you take money, you are paid for a service that your organization should pay you for, you will compromise those values. The ethical values are challenged, more or less. Should journalists accept brown envelope? The answer is no. Okay? They are supposed to be paid by their employers. But you and I, we both know that the media is basically struggling today to survive, to operate. You buy newsprint, you buy your equipment, your cameras, everything is imported. We don't produce anything here, and it would appear that there's a deliberate destruction of our institutions. Where is Nigeria Airways? Okay? Where is our shipping lines? But as most of the public utilities that we're used to in the past, they've all been destroyed. So it's a game of survival. So you can't really blame, at the end of the day, journalists who get paid for doing their work, by people they report. It will be launched on Thursday. That's 2 days from now at the Yaravda Center here in Abuja. Okay? I will have invited very distinguished Nigerians and friends of Nigeria, to attend. We have the media, of course, it's going to be a media event, so the media will be fully represented. Our chairman is John Momo, who is the chairman and CEO of Channels Media Group. We have Dr. Ruben Abati, the former presidential spokesperson, as our guest speaker. And his topic will be journalism in the service of society, which is the slogan of Naija Times. We have Azu Ishekwene, who will review this book on Thursday at 10 a.m. We'll hope to start. The event will be streamed live for those who will not be there. Former governor of Ogun State, doyen of Nigerian journalism, Aremo Segun Oshoba. He is our father of the day. We have invited, our guests from different groups. We have civil society organizations. We have women groups. The heads of missions, in the diplomatic community here in Nigeria, of course, most of them here in Abuja, have also been invited, about 30 of them. They will be there on that day. I must also say that Naija Times is the newspaper, but Naija Times Journalism Foundation is the non-profit arm of the newspaper of Naija Times, which is basically to work with other stakeholders, to advocate for a better Nigeria using different platforms, events, conversations. For example, we have the Naija Times conversations, diaspora conversations. It's a virtual colloquium, and we have treated different topics. The first one was on security in Nigeria. The second was homecoming of Nigerians who are in the diaspora. What needs to change? Issues like related to passport. And I'm impressed with the work that is, being done in that area by the Honorable Minister of the Interior.
Right, Mr. Braimah. Yeah, I think it's really, it would be very interesting for a lot of people to, really come in to attend this lecture. But I want to make sure whether it's open to all journalists, students, and anyone who will be able to participate if they can't even join live. How is it? Is it open to all? Very quickly.
Oh, it's by invitation. These are printed cards. We also have soft copies that we have shared. And it's an open forum, but admission will be controlled, through the invitation cards we have sent out. But as I said, not everybody will be able to make it to Abuja. So it's going to be streamed live on different platforms.
All right, quickly, how can they get the book? For those who cannot attend, how can they get the book?
The book will be available in bookshops, okay? Right. It will also be available on Amazon Kindle at the end of the month, okay?
All right.
And but it's for all Nigerians and friends of Nigeria, and a great, valuable.
That's a fine place to leave the conversation. Ehi Braimah, publisher, editor-in-chief, Naija Times. We must thank you for your time on the program and wish you all the best with Naija Times.